You have to sit down. If you want to do this with me, you have to sit down. Hi friend, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name's Kat. We are in a different space right now because my back is absolutely killing me because I fell down some stairs a couple of days ago, and I just filmed this sitting on my desk chair and it was painful, but I wanted to film another video, so I'm doing it on my bed, and I have Pussycat on my knee because this is his chosen spot at the moment, the bed. So if I'm filming on the bed, he's gonna be there with me. Oh, Lily. Oh, you are so cute. Yes, you are, my little baby. So anyway, today's video is an eyeshadow palette ranking video. I did have everything in really neat piles, but they are not in neat piles anymore. So I'm just gonna grab, it's gonna be a little bit less organized as I intended, because I had to just quickly pull everything towards me. So we are just gonna work our way through, talk about some eyeshadow palettes. I have 25 eyeshadow palettes. I don't dislike any of them. There's just some that I like a lot more than others. There are some that I'm thinking of decluttering just because I don't use them, but it's not because I dislike the quality. So that's that. So number 25 is my Makeup Revolution Black Pearl eyeshadow palette. I've just realised I'm so far away that you're not really going to be able to see the palettes. This is a cool toned little palette. I got this because I really wanted the Nabla Cutie palette. The Nabla Cutie palette in platinum, but that's £36, and I wasn't prepared to spend £36 on an eyeshadow palette, so instead I spent £6, which is how much this is. I really have not used it much, which makes me glad that I didn't buy the Nabla one. The quality of this is really nice, but there's many shades in here that I haven't actually touched, so that's why it is at the bottom. The next one is actually my Fenty Beauty Moroccan Spice palette. So this is number 24. Kelvin's mum got me this for Christmas a couple of years ago, and I do really like it. The shimmers in here are so gorgeous, but a lot of the mattes I just don't use. I tried to depot a couple of shades and they cracked, this grey one's cracked, which is really real shame, but these shimmers at the top here are so gorgeous, but I just don't use it very often because I just don't really go for these kind of tones, so I struggle to think of looks to create with this palette. But that's no comment on the quality. I think the quality's nice, but it's just not really my kind of colour story. Number 23 is my Dubious Place Nomad palette. I bought this a long time ago, and I think I've only actually used it in the video I made with it. I did a multi-palette bingo, a multi-palette bingo with this and the Tribe, and I do really like it. As you can see, I was gonna depot it, but it's cardboard, and this shade was it was just a beige, and it completely shattered, so I couldn't rescue it. But I really like this kind of murky green brown. I really like this shimmer in the middle. This yellow is really nice, but it's got micro glitters in it. So I do like this palette, but again, it's sort of near the bottom of the list because I don't use it particularly often. Number 22 will be the Makeup Revolution and Calmy palette. This is the Make Magic palette. The thing about this palette is the mattes. I love the shimmers, especially the ones across the top. They are absolutely stunning. But the mattes in here kind of throw me. I struggle to create looks just with these mattes. I often find myself doing a crease with shadows from different palettes and then pulling in these shimmers because I just can't work with a lot of these mattes. I struggle with it's the tones. I don't know what it is about it, but it is a really nice palette, and I'm yet to declutter it, so it's still sitting in my collection, but I do really struggle with it to come up with ideas. Maybe this is something I could do a video on, like trying to come up with looks. I don't know, but that's why it's at 22. Number 21 is my Spectrum Oceana palette. Got this on sale for a really good deal, and I do genuinely really like this palette. The shimmers in it are so special, but I am very tempted to depot it and put it in one of my Z palettes, because these do just pop out, like they're not all, they've got a little like bit here. So I would keep this lavender, this teal, and these shades, but maybe not these ones at the bottom. I could dupe these a lot in my collection, and they're just a little bit boring, but these ones up here are absolutely stunning. Like this shade here is like a purpley brown with blue sparkle in. It's absolutely gorgeous. So some of this palette is really special, and then some of it is a little bit boring, so that's why it's quite low. But like I genuinely really love this palette. The rest of these palettes, like I genuinely really love, so it was quite hard to rank. But yeah, this one at 21. And then number 20 will be my Colourpop Orange You Glad palette. My lovely friend Sky sent me this as a little gift because they were decluttering it, and it is really nice. I have only used it once in that video that I made, but it is like a really good neutral palette for me, because neutrals for me, I either want mustards or I want oranges. I find orange is so close to brown that it's basically a neutral. And it is really gorgeous, and I will be using it again soon. I just have only used it the once. I can see myself getting a lot of use out of this next summer. But now I just want these kind of like, you know, grungy dark tones. These are technically 2, but I'm gonna put them in as 1. Does that then mean that I only have... Well, this is 19 and 18. The 2 palettes that I have from Lottie London. These are in collaboration with Layla Loves, and these are the Ibiza and the Miami palettes. I am a big sucker for pinks and yellows and oranges together, so I absolutely love this one. This is the Ibiza one, and I do really like this one as well. The shimmers in this one are like incredible. This one down here is like a pink with a baby blue shift, and the green has got little pink sparkles in it. It's so stunning, and I just really adore these palettes, but I always use them in conjunction with each other. I never just use one, I always use both. So that's why I'm ranking them together. I'm probably not going to get much use out of them now, because again, I just want these like dark grungy tones, but I really love these palettes. I highly recommend them. Next is my other little I Heart Revolution mini palette. This is the Mini Peach. I adore this. It is such good quality. The shadow, the shimmers are very flaky. If you don't like flaky shimmers, you're not gonna like the shimmers in here. However, I love flaky shimmers because then I find they're extra reflective, they're extra beautiful. So I absolutely love this. I love the peachy tones, and then there's like a really nice dark chocolatey brown to kind of deepen everything up. I won't probably get a lot of use out of like the gold and the bronze in here, because I just like, I'm not gonna reach into a peach palette for a gold or a bronze. But these like peachy pinks down here are so stunning. I love this palette. Next, number 16 is my Certify Affinity 2 palette, and this is purely because I've only used it once. I can see once I've used this a few times, this will be like much higher in the ranking. This is a stunning blue, green and a pop purple palette. It's got 3 duochromes in it. It's absolutely gorgeous. I adore this palette, but again, I have only used it once, so I do have to rank it a bit lower. But this is so gorgeous. I love this like mossy green, and you know, these duochromes are so special. I love it, and I can't wait to start filming my 2 looks with it. Next, number 15 is my Colourpop Through My Eyes palette. This is the collaboration they did with I Love Sarai, and I do really love this palette. I did run into some problems when I did my 3 looks with it, but it is really beautiful. I do really like it. I don't regret buying it. I have a feeling this is another one that I'm probably gonna depot and put in a Z palette, just because there are some shades I probably won't use, and there's some that I think I would get a lot of use out of. But it is a really beautiful palette, and I'm really glad I finally got my hands on it. I really love it. Oh, if I remember, I will link, if I've got videos on any of these, I will pop them in the description box below. Oh, Lenny, you're like a hot water bottle. He's just like on one leg rather than sitting in my lap. He's just on one leg. Next, number 15 is my Zodiac Love Signs palette from BH Cosmetics. I have had this palette for a really long time, but it really has stood the test of time. It's so gorgeous. It's absolutely massive, but I adore this. The mattes are like fine. They're really easy to work with, but it's these baked shimmers around the edge. They are absolutely gorgeous, and I love the variation. This like peachy one called peachy, honestly, I need to go to bed. I need some dinner and I need to go to bed. I'm very tired. This peachy one called Virgo is absolutely gorgeous. The Libra shade is also really stunning. It's like kind of like a pewter, like taupey lilac. This whole palette is just stunning, and those shimmers, every time I use one of these shimmers on my lid, I always get a compliment about it because they're so intense and shimmery and wet looking. They're absolutely gorgeous. And these palettes are really affordable as well. I have been tempted by the original Love Signs, but I don't think I'm gonna by the original Zodiac, I mean, but I don't think I'm gonna go for it. But I love this. I wish it was smaller, but what can you do? It is my Ace Beauté Slice of Paradise palette. This is a little rainbow palette. I absolutely love this. I think it's gorgeous. I've used it a lot. It's just ranked lower because there's things that I prefer. That's all. We're at a point now where this was very difficult because I really like everything that we're about to talk about. So I'm going to kind of just go through them quickly because I love them all. There's not going to be a lot I can talk about. But I love this palette. It's really gorgeous. It's a really simple little rainbow, but I feel like this like pop of like mac and cheese orange and this lovely corally pink, they kind of give it something a little bit special. I just really love this palette. Number 13 is my Udens Eye Solman palette. This is such a gorgeous palette. I really love it. I've used it quite a few times on and off camera, and I absolutely adore it. I love this like green to gold duochrome at the bottom here. It's so wet looking and sparkly, and this lavender is gorgeous. I love the mustard. I just really love this palette. This shade down here is incredibly disappointing. I really don't like it. It's super hard pressed in the pan, so you can't really get a lot of pigment from it. However, everything else I cannot fault. I think it's beautiful. Number 12 is my Kaleidos Electro Turquoise. This is the Futurism 5. I really like this palette. I really do. That blue in the middle has broken twice now, so I have to be quite gentle with it. But I find this colour story incredibly inspiring. There's nothing like it in my collection, and probably in like the makeup world. I think it's so pretty. The shimmers are absolutely to die for, and the mattes blend like butter. This is just my least favourite of the three that I have. Now that I've played with the Sci-Fi Green more, this is has just kind of gone down a notch, but it doesn't mean that I don't absolutely love this. Number 11 is my Sample Beauty Rain palette. This is a very simple like neutral palette, but it's mustard leaning. It's got some really gorgeous red tones in it, like this Monarch shade here and Cleopatra. They're like reddish browns. They're absolutely gorgeous, and I love this shade here, Gloriana. It's like a green gold. It's lovely. Sorry. Thank you. I really love this palette. It's my favourite neutral. I usually take this travelling because it's really quick and easy, especially like one of my favourite easy looks is literally just like this brown all over the lid, blended out with a red lip. Really easy but really bold. So I love this palette a lot. We are in the top 10. We've got 10 more to go. All of these I absolutely love, so I'm not going to give any excuses of why they are where they are, because I just love them all. So let us begin. Number 10 is my W7 Gold Rush palette. This is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Gold palette, which is something that I still crave, but I will never buy because it's just so expensive. I love this. It was £7 or like less than £7, and the quality is incredible. I have a video playing with this and it's stunning. I love the mustards. I love the mustards with the teals. I just think it's an absolutely gorgeous palette and I am really impressed with it. I know that W7 do a dupe for the Subculture palette, and now that the Subculture is discontinued, I might grab it because I really wanted the Subculture. So if the quality is anything like this one, it'll be amazing. Number 9 will be my Ace Beauté Oceanic palette. This is another green blue palette, but this one I would say is a little bit more grungy than the Affinity 2. I absolutely adore this palette. It's so rich and like pigmented and beautiful. I love Ace Beauté's formula so much. They're probably the only brand that I would like collect all of the palettes from because I just adore the formula. The shimmers in here are so special and beautiful and wet looking and sparkly, and I just absolutely adore this palette. Number 8 is my Lunar Beauty Moonspell palette. This one cost me a pretty penny, but honestly, I adore it. I think it's so worth it. How am I gonna have to hold this so you can see it? Can I do it like that? Yeah, that's fine. It's got all these purples, some neutrals up the middle, and then like a row of like greens and teals. It's so gorgeous. It speaks to my soul, this color story. I absolutely love it, and I'm really excited to pull it out some more. I'm thinking of doing some like glam spooky looks, and this is definitely something that I'm going to be pulling out to use. I absolutely love it, and this packaging is just like A+++++++. I'm gonna have to hurry this on because my camera is gonna die. Next is what I've got on my eyes at the moment, and that is the Juvia's Place Tribe palette. This is another green palette. I love greens, but it's greens and orange and gold and teal. It's so beautiful. Unfortunately, this palette is discontinued now, which is such a shame, but I absolutely adore this, and I'm so glad I have it in my collection. I really love it, and doing this 2 looks, 1 palette with it that I've just finished filming has really reminded me just how gorgeous this palette is. Number 6 is my Kaleidos Sci-Fi Green. I adore this palette. I just uploaded a 2 looks 1 palette with it, and I think it's so delicious. It's so grungy and murky. I love these like olivey greens. They're so gorgeous, and that like orangey mustard and the shimmers in here are just incredible. I absolutely love this palette, and I'm very... what am I doing? This is another one that I'm very excited to pull out some more and get some more use out of now I film with it. It's like showing me how much I love it. We are now at my top 5. I want you to now pause and comment if you watch my videos, if you think you know what my favorite palette's gonna be. Please put it in the comments. Number 5 is my Beauty Bay EYN Bright Matte palette. This is the 42 colour matte palette. This palette is absolutely gigantic, but I absolutely adore this. This is probably the palette I've got the most use out of it. I've had it for years, and the quality is just like incredible for how cheap it is. This was £23. I absolutely adore this. I had to put it in my top 5 because I use it so much, and I love it. I really love it. So this is my number 5. Number 4 is my last Kaleidos palette. This is the VR Neon. This is another one that I think unfortunately is discontinued, which really sucks because it's so gorgeous. It's like Skittles in a palette. It's so stunning. I love the green in here. It's probably my favorite green in my entire collection, and the 2 shimmers on the end are just so gorgeous. I absolutely love this so much, and I also have a 3 looks 1 palette with this, and the look that I did that's like orange and red with the pink on the lid, one of my favorite looks I've ever done. I absolutely adore this palette. Hey, Tulip, I've got 2 cats in the room now. Number 3 is my Kaylee and Sosu Urban Bible palette. This is my favorite neutral with like a colorful twist palette. I love it. I love this like blue to purple to brown sort of shifting duochrome shade. I love this Saviour. It's my favourite brown in my collection, which I know is a really boring thing to say, but it is. I love it. I just think this is such a gorgeous palette. I really adore it. And this is another one that's discontinued, which I don't understand, but I adore this. Number 2 is another discontinued palette. I'm sorry. But this is the Colourpop Good Sport palette. This one is so gorgeous. I love it so much. The mustards with the purples, with the greens, with the browns. It's such a special colour story, and it sucks that it doesn't exist anymore. And it sucks also that Colourpop can't seem to come out with anything as interesting anymore. But I truly adore this palette with my whole entire heart. I've done 3 looks with it, and I loved every look I created. This is just truly like a standout in my collection. And number 1, did you guess it? It's the Ace Beauté Flare palette. This is my number 1 palette. It probably always will be. I absolutely love it. It is colourful, it is grungy, it is murky, the quality is impeccable. I can put these shadows on at 7:30 in the morning, and at 9 o'clock at night they still look absolutely incredible. They look like they've just been put on. They don't fade, they don't smudge, they're just perfect. I absolutely adore this palette. I can't speak higher of it. I think I'm going to do 2 more looks with this palette. My first 3 looks was with this, and I want to do more. So I think I'm going to do 2 more looks with it as well. So those are all my palettes ranked. I know I kind of sped through it, but I didn't want to be too repetitive, and I didn't want it to get too boring, and I'm also hungry and my camera's going to die. So please tell me what your top 5 palettes are. I would love to know. I love speaking about eyeshadow palettes. I know I make a lot of eyeshadow palette content on my channel, but it's my favourite part of makeup, so I'm going to talk about it all the time. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Eat good, drink good, take care of yourself. Lots of love. Cheers. Thanks. Bye. You say bye, Lenny. Bye bye. Bye.